It's part of the job. Sounds like someone's getting a promotion. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca and let's get to work for you.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already. Yeah, we're working in your basement, doing a replacement. The work is so earnestly building your legacy. With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
If you've got a smart speaker, get it to play Sports 1440.
And it doesn't matter when you listen, as we roll out the sports talk
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton's home for sports radio is Sports 1440.
Ever had a problem returning auto parts? At Ed's Auto Salvage in Westlock, we do things differently. Hi, it's Lisa, and we're proud to offer one of the best return policies in the business. When you shop with us, you buy with confidence, knowing that if it doesn't fit or if it's not the right part, we'll make it right. For nearly 50 years, Ed's Auto Salvage has helped Alberta drivers save money, stay on the roads, and shop stress-free. Trust the team that stands behind every part we sell. Visit us at edsautosalvage.com.
Invest for today and tomorrow. Vision Credit Union makes it simple with 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP offering higher growth potential with exciting opportunities. With an RRSP, you'll save on your income tax, grow your investments tax-free, and get closer to your dreams. Whether it's retirement or your first home, the deadline to qualify for 2025 tax deductions is March 2nd. Learn more at visioncu.ca.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, Oilers Ducks tonight. NHL returns. Is McDavid playing? Why in HE hockey sticks is Josh Szymanski in the minors? What's going on right now? Could a coffee turn things around? It does for me every morning. And is Chris Knoblock in trouble? That and more straight ahead. A Lowdown with Lowetide for Wolf GMC Buick. GM employee pricing is back on all Sierra trucks, plus great finance and lease rates, a new GMC Terrain and SUVs, wolfgmcbuick.com. Check them out. We're live on YouTube and Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, iHeartRadio, and Radio Player Canada. After the show, it's Apple and Spotify podcast. We tweet it out on X. You can text us anytime, 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, at JFenwick04, Mac McLennan as well. And on the show today, we have two guests, Matt Larkin from Daily Faceoff at 1240, Kevin McCertie at 1, and, of course, Declinations coming up at 1:40. Lots of Oiler talk today. The NHL is back. The Oilers are back, and they're under a little bit of pressure. I mean, if you can hum under pressure from Bowie and Queen today, I think you're in the right area as far as the Edmonton Oilers are concerned. It is now time for the introductions. 1 week ago, she tweeted, put McCarr out with Mick Mac Mac line, and it can be Mick Mac Mac line. And it got 2 likes. More people need to be following Mackenzie McLennan. Everybody, Mackenzie.
Yeah, that one, I wish it would have gotten a couple more eyes because I was really proud of it.
Well, I thought it was hilarious. And I always look for intro, stuff. And I thought, man, that only got 2. She doesn't have enough followers. What are you up to now?
Just waiting for the Oilers to start. That gives me a little bit more to work with.
All right. What is your text, or what is your Twitter handle for people to follow you?
Mac McLennan, MAKMCLENNAN.
Okay. Almost as confusing as Josh and Declan's, but that's okay. He is actively ruining my career by using my own words against me in short videos posted on X, and he's really good at it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick. Yeah.
Attempted to ruin two hosts' careers yesterday. Yours was saying Shohei Ohtani could be a Hall of Famer, and also posting, this one was obviously via Sports 1440. Kevin Carrius telling Trent Frederick to kill Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah, I see that's gotten a little bit of play out there. Right?
Just a touch. It made its way to America.
Yeah.
So,
and everything that makes its way to America is handled with care and a righteous fury, I would say.
Yeah. However, it's our biggest video in the history of our TikTok.
Oh, there you go.
So,
nothing wrong with that. He has hot takes on everything, including NBA MVP, the Oilers' best goalie, why you should never turn your back on oatmeal, and why you should hit the heavy bag at least once a week. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger.
Oh, what's that? Hey, happy to be here.
Yeah.
Another day.
Yeah, you seem thrilled.
I'm really, really tired.
Yeah.
Really tired.
What did you have for breakfast?
I didn't have breakfast, but I had kind of an early lunch because I normally have my lunch around 2 p.m. I had a sandwich with bacon and lettuce and tomato.
Oh, very good. Did you have cheese in it?
No cheese.
Did you have, was it like what kind of lettuce? Lettuce is a real key.
Maybe romaine.
Okay. And was there a barrier? Because the lettuce can't hit the bread. Did you have the cheese barrier there?
No cheese. The lettuce was touching the bread.
That's not good.
There was like mayo on the top slice.
But it doesn't matter, man. You have to have barriers. The lettuce can't touch the bread.
I wasn't eating for pleasure. I was eating for sustenance.
I don't care. There's a way to make a sandwich.
Peanut butter and jam.
Oh, man, I love peanut butter and jam. All right, you're off the hook. Okay, Oilers play tonight. Pre-game right here at 7 o'clock. Where will Walker be, Josh? Where will he be on planet Earth when the pre-game's on?
He'll be right here in the Sports 1440 studios, I believe. It's seven bells.
And then post-game as well. So they'll be pulling out of here about midnight, 12:30 then.
Oh, they'll be pulling out of here past midnight for sure, yeah. Because
the Oilers need this game, and they haven't, the full team has not practiced in a hellacious amount of time. I was thinking about how to theme today's show, and I'm going to ask two questions. I'll ask them one at a time. We'll go around the room. The first question is going to be, what do you expect Paul Coffey to help with, and how well do you think he'll do? And then I don't believe he is, but is Chris Knoblock in trouble? Because I'm reading a lot of people saying if they don't get out of California with 4 points, then there's trouble. I don't see it, but let's talk about it. So first one, Declan, we'll begin with you. What do you expect from Paul Coffey? Do you think he can help? And what do you believe he might be able to help this team with?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is he's a bit more of a voice of authority, right? Like, I think that's kind of been one of the things. Like, people have talked about him kind of coming in to be a Darnell Nurse whisperer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Darnell Nurse has had a great season. I think most people would probably echo that sentiment. I think you could make the argument that, like, Nurse last season with Paul Coffey behind the bench
was very good.
Great hockey.
Yeah. Now, in the playoffs, there was a lot of uneven play by everybody. A lot of it was injury. But you're right. Nurse played well last year.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. It's a different voice that I think brings a little bit more. Obviously, anytime you have a coach of a professional sports organization, you're listening. You've been an athlete your whole life. You know what it's like to, listen to your coach, follow coach's instructions, things like that. But anytime it's Paul Coffey versus your star player's junior coach, like, you're going to listen a little bit more.
Well, I think that,
like, obviously, I'm talking as a defenseman.
Right. I think that Gulletson and Coffey were really key. We have to remember.
We don't talk enough about Gulletson.
But Knoblock was a rookie NHL coach when he got here. And that coaching team got them to 2 Stanley Cup finals. And maybe it was a little early to cut Knoblock loose with his choice of staff. Now, Josh, your thoughts on what Coffey can bring?
Consistency, I think, is the main thing he'll bring. Like Declan said, this is a guy who's been playing sports his entire life, multi-time Stanley Cup champion. This is a guy who, when he looks at you and gives you advice, you're going to take it. So I think it'll help the Oilers greatly, and also just having that calming presence in the locker room.
Yeah, I think that's all.
The other thing I would say really quickly before we get to Mac is you talk about it being maybe a little too early to let Knoblock, but you understand why they let him.
Well, we'll talk. We're going to get to there. Now it's time for Mac McLennan to talk.
Yeah. Not much different than Declan and Josh. He is a little bit more outspoken, and I do wonder if that coaching staff is a little bit more like soft spoken. I don't know how to like put that. If you guys catch my drift.
No. The Oilers locker room is soft. You heard it here.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Whoa. So having Coffee be there, and especially because when mistakes are made on the blue line, Coffee is there and he's like, I've made that mistake 10 times more than you have. Go out there and make a play. That's what we saw from him previously. So I think that's what we'll see again.
Yeah, I think the other thing is that Vincent Desharnais, who had his best period of time, I believe, when Coffee was here, he talked about Coffee saying, you got more time than you think you do to make the good pass. And I think that outlet passing, it's a team game. The Oilers forwards are the gap is too much. But I think they need to take a little extra care and get that puck out under control with an astute pass, a tape-to-tape pass. It's a key to hockey because the puck can move quicker than a human. And that's, I think, what the Oilers have gotten away from. And structurally, they don't use the middle of the ice as much. And I think Coffee will help there. And those are two things that we can look for tonight. As far as the question that I was going to ask second, then I will do so now. Why I'm telling you that, but I do not think, I want to be clear here, I do not think that Chris Knoblock is in any trouble at all. But I do believe that the Oilers are close enough to missing the playoffs where, disaster lurks, as it were. And one of the things, I'll tell you, I have no evidence, I have no connection with anybody with the Edmonton Oilers. I do not converse with any Edmonton Oilers. I am not in any way connected. That's the way I want it, and I think they're very pleased to have that happen. Now, that said, I believe that there was no mention of this team is really in trouble and there's going to be changes of things until late in the homestand. And my own belief in watching the Oilers for many, many years, I think the owner got tired of watching this team not play well. So let's assume that I'm right, although I have no evidence, complete conjecture. It's like me talking about oatmeal with regard to Declan. But let's assume that this was a Coffee thing coming in. That means that at some level, just based on that there's a lot of pressure on Chris Knoblock. And he said all the right things, but there was a lot of media, Frank Sarvalli, Mark Spector, who said things like, some, noses out of joint. This wasn't exactly, I think I read somewhere, and I don't know where, and I apologize, where Coffee didn't really want to come back. And some of the people internally weren't thrilled that it was happening. But that's what an owner can do, force the issue, because he's not happy. And whatever you think about Daryl Cates, he spends to the cap. Daryl Cates is a fan like you are. He really does love winning. So that was an unforgivable homestand. So my question, even though the preamble was about 11 minutes long, is do you think Chris Knoblock is in trouble? And do you think the pressure brought to bear to bring Coffee in came from ownership?
The classic two-parter. I think, Chris, I hesitate to use the word trouble, but it's a troubling looking situation. I think that would be fair. And then, it sure seems like it. For the second part of your question.
Yeah, I just think that's the easy.
Because it's like, so where else did it come from?
Right, exactly. I mean, Bowman was saying all the right things. Everybody else was saying all the right things. Leon said we got to be better, but Leon is a frank guy. His name should be Frank Draisaitl.
Because it's like Coffee doesn't even want a bench role.
No, so he wants to be GM.
It's not like, yeah, of course. So it's not like he was in, who pick your, front office's members' ears where he was like, hey, let me get back in on this thing. You know what I mean? Like,
did you say pick your front office members' ears?
Yeah, well, I just wasn't going to run through all the names, like whether it be
better
Jackson,
than picking their nose.
Cates.
Where are we going with this show?
It's not like he was like, guys, get me behind the bench. He didn't want that.
What is life? All right, Josh. Question.
Yeah, I think he's in trouble. You can't miss the playoffs.
No,
you're not allowed. And the fact that he's as close as he is spells serious trouble. I mean, in the NBA, Mike Malone got fired 3 games before the postseason started. right? Like, I'm not saying that's going to happen to Chris Knoblock.
Taylor Jenkins too.
Yeah, Taylor Jenkins too. If Chris Knoblock gets fired, it will be after they miss the playoffs when they're mathematically eliminated.
One thing I will say is that Lou Lamoriello used to do it all the time. He'd fire a guy like 15 games before the end of the season, bring in Larry Robinson and win Stanley. There is a dead cat bounce. It does exist.
Well, there we go. Maybe that'll happen.
Yeah. All right. Mackenzie, your thoughts on where everybody is, including ownership and management, with Chris Knoblock?
Yeah. Like Daryl Cates. He definitely got tired of it. And it's really hard because when you see winning franchises, you see the ownership let management handle everything. So that's a really hard one for me because I'm just like, just let them do their jobs. And Chris Knoblock, like, yes, he's probably feeling the heat, but also this is a coach that has taken you to back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. Like, you can't discount that at all. Like, he knows what he's doing. And maybe it's just the implementing of the new systems that has been the issue. And also, there's no way that they go into playoffs and he still has like the same amount of heat that he has on him right now. And they decide to make a coaching change. That it just, like, you can't do that.
Yeah. Kenneth says, kick in the face of the current coaches. Now they have an owner-appointed babysitter. Oilers dysfunction for 20 years, from ownership to the players on the ice. Maybe the worst franchise in pro sports. Anyone else had this many first overall picks plus a Draisaitl. They weren't trying to win the years when they got those picks too. Well, the legend has it, Daryl Cates mentioned in January of 2010, maybe we should rebuild. And that caused the Taylor Hall, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Niall Yakupov trifecta of number one overalls. But I'm going to push back a little bit on the not trying. They were not successful. They asked too much of the kids, and they didn't have enough veterans who could, signing Belanger and Cam Barker isn't it. But by the time McDavid was here, the Oilers didn't try to lose in order to win the first overall pick. They got lucky, and they already had Draisaitl. I can be heavily critical of the organization. They traded a wonderful lot of picks in the deepest draft, really, of this century, and maybe even earlier, maybe since 1979 at 2015, and they didn't get enough back. But they were trying to fill a new arena, and at the time all those trades were made, they didn't know how ridiculous Connor McDavid was going to be. So I'll push back a little bit on that, although overall, I do agree with you. Nikki Northside, I feel the Oilers win in spite of the knob. Sorry, I apologize. I read it wrong. I don't think he's why we win. Don't think the players listen to him as a leader like that. Hence the coffee higher. I could be way off, but I think he's proven he can't make mid-game adjustments. I think you're bang on, and I think Declan and the group also said a similar version of same. I think the coach got stubborn. I yelled and screamed, and I jumped up and down, and I slammed my fist, and I had bad hair for days because of the crazy stretch passes that ended up in icings, and the gaps between the forwards and defense. You remember that? I was all mad as hell every day. I was cranky. I pushed over your coffee. It was embarrassing. Oh, it was awful. Pushing, shoving. It was like high school all over again.
Anytime I saw you reaching for the belt, I got flashbacks.
Just saying. All right. So I think he is a little bit stubborn, and I think this is a reaction to it, and we'll see how it goes. All right. It's 12:15. Just to give you an idea, we're going to talk about Matt Savoy's recall straight ahead. There's also somebody on waivers you might be interested in. We'll talk about that on the way with rumors. At 12:40 today, looking forward to this. I don't know if he's been on the show before, and that's the God's honest truth. Memory isn't what it used to be, but Matt Larkin from Daily Faceoff will join us at 1:00. It'll be Kevin McCertie, and then Declinations at 1:40. What are we doing on Declinations today? We're Zipper Boy.
We're dunking with Declan. We're jamming with Josh. We're making baskets with Mac.
Okay.
I don't know if there's an M1.
That third one really could be. We could work on it.
Yeah, we'll workshop it.
Maybe we'll do a focus group.
Send them in.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Japa Machinery Group knows that XCMG may not roll off the tongue, but Japa's team will help keep your construction jobs rolling on time and on budget with heavy equipment sales and rentals. Visit japamachinery.com to find out more.
Once upon this Saturday night, your heroes on the Edmonton Oil Kings host some extra special royalty in Ice District.
Princess Night at Rogers Place is back as your regal Oil Kings look to vanquish the Lethbridge Hurricanes.
Fans can dress as their favorite royal, get a free tiara, and find princesses roaming the concourse all night for the ultimate selfie.
Plus, Calmont Kids food combos are $10 or less. The value is king-sized.
Edmonton Oil Kings, Princess Night, Saturday at 7.
Happily Ever After entertainment at Rogers Place begins at only $20 at oilkings.ca.
Expand your brand with Fusion Promo Marketing. Fusion is your trusted partner for all things branded merch and apparel. Thousands of products perfect for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacing, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. And yep. Since 2009, All Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All Star Construction is all about.
If you've got a smart speaker, get it to play Sports 1440.
And it doesn't matter when you listen as we roll out the Sports Talk
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton's home for sports radio is Sports 1440.
Want to invest in Alberta's workforce, fill your talent pipeline, and get funding? Careers, the next generation connects employers with motivated, pre-vetted youth through funded internships. Easy, impactful, and risk-free.
When you work with a group like Careers who have experience in that area, they can demystify and navigate all the complex steps and stakeholders that have to be involved.
Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
Invest for today and tomorrow. Vision Credit Union makes it simple with 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP offering higher growth potential with exciting opportunities. With an RRSP, you'll save on your income tax, grow your investments tax-free, and get closer to your dreams. Whether it's retirement or your first home, the deadline to qualify for 2025 tax deductions is March 2nd. Learn more at visioncu.ca.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. Mackenzie, song and artist, please.
As It Was by Harry Styles. He has a new album on March 6th.
I have to say that gave me Roxy Music vibes. Do you know who Roxy Music is?
I do not know.
Okay, well, listen to Virginia Plain, Love is the Drug, Avalon, and More Than This when you get a spare.
Okay, will do.
Okay. It is time for Rumors, brought to you by Great Canadian Solar. Great Canadian Solar has been helping homeowners and businesses harness the power of the sun for 15 years. Invest in solar and yourself at greatcanadiansolar.com. Matt Savoy has been recalled by the Edmonton Oilers. They had, I think they've got enough for $1.50 coffee, which is very good. And that's all the cap room they have now that they've done the recall. But they've got him here. Means they have 13 forwards, I believe, so they could rest McDavid tonight. My guess is they don't. They'll probably try. Connor, you're not playing. And then, okay, Connor, you're playing. That's sort of the deal as I see it going down.
You can't rest Connor McDavid tonight. They're in such a tough spot in the standings that you need every one of these games.
And Anaheim's like kind of good.
And Anaheim's kind of good. They're healthier than the last time you played them, which, just a reminder, it was 6-4 and there was an empty netter at the end.
Oh no, they're even Nashville has crawled into the playoff race. LA's right there.
The West is weird because of the Pacific.
Yeah. But the Oilers are the team that could rip off 5 wins in a row. And we should remind ourselves that. I think Draisaitl will play probably with Podkolzin and Jack Roslovic. McDavid line will be the same. Then it gets interesting because Adam Henrique will be back tonight. I really do like Lazar on a line with Trent Frederick on the fourth line. So that means maybe Savoy is in there somewhere. Matthias Janmark will play.
For some reason.
The Janmark family is a big time listener to this show. So,
but at some point, like
you have to.
We love what he's done.
Right. Craig McTavish said years ago, he said, no matter how good you are defensively as a forward, you have to move the needle a little bit offensively. And Mr. Janmark has not done that. And it's a Janmark on his record, I think. Okay. That's one thing to pass along to you. There's a few other just little piddly diddly things coming from the NHL. Capitals have placed Sonny Milano on waivers. I always thought Sonny Milano would be a great Godfather character.
I'm surprised it isn't.
Obviously Sonny was, Sonny had he was doing really well, until he, went to the Causeway. Do you remember that scene?
Yes.
Sonny at the Causeway?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what happened?
Yeah. I was just making sure. Well, he got whacked, but
Brad Pitt couldn't have played that any better.
James Caan's really good, man.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, just like as a real quick aside that I'm sure will snowball. How about that cast?
Oh my God.
Like my good, the best ever.
Diane Keaton was in that movie. I mean, obviously Pacino, not bad. Brando, hello.
Arguably the best ever.
Yeah. I mean, I could have been a contender.
That's on the waterfront.
I understand that. I understand it is. I was just saying Brando was great.
It is.
Wow. Penguins play Sidney Crosby on IR. This is going to happen. How many, do you think there's any recent Olympian that could get traded at the deadline?
Jordan Binnington?
It'd be an interesting one for sure. Do you think the Oilers regret not trading for Jasper Wallstedt now that he's available? They've already made their move, and a Hall of Fame goaltender. Oiler fans will tell you that any day of the week.
He is very good. I know you say that tongue in cheek.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He's very good.
He was a Hall of Famer the day he got drafted.
Yeah, I know. He did man, I'll tell you though, he took what an enviable goalie situation they have there in Minnesota, by the way. Like
Billy Guerin has done a hell of a job there.
Minnesota, I don't know what the odds are in Minnesota to win, but that is a team. If the odds are right, you wouldn't mind putting a few coin down on them. They have all the makeup of.
Depending upon what the odds are, I don't gamble, so I have no idea. But that would be, you put 30 cents on each bet, something like that. Vegas is making some moves. They're activating people I'd forgotten were still in the league. Colton Sissons and Brandon Saad. Did you think that was, do you think those cats were still there?
Listen, they've both had their day in the sun on Hi, My Name Is. So yeah, I'm well aware.
Man, I am telling you. All right. Merrill Kelly, unlikely to be ready for opening day for the Diamondbacks pitchers. Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be pitchers. And if you do, keep them healthy because, oh my God, it's just like a diddly Erder's row of Tommy John surgeries every spring for Major League Baseball. And that's not the greatest. Apparently, the Cardinals are shopping Kyler Murray coming up at the Combine. Kyler Murray, I love watching him, but he's not a tall fellow. And he can scramble, but you need to do more of that to be a successful quarterback in the NFL. Now, he has been, but injuries are obviously piling up. What kind of value does Murray have?
That is an unbelievable question. Josh, you want to take you seem to.
I said not a lot.
No, I know. Why don't you take this one and run with it?
Sure. All right. So
I agree, man. Yeah.
If we're talking about Kyler Murray from 3 years ago, maybe even 2, it's Kyler Murray could get you a pretty penny for sure if you were trading him away. But he's had this nagging quad injury basically for the last 2-3 seasons. And he can scramble, but he can't scramble as well. He's short enough that he has to drop back 1 or 2 yards further on each drop back to be able to see downfield pretty well. And that just opens him up to get hit more, which I think if he was again, 3 inches taller. I think he'd be just a fine decision maker, but he basically faces pressure on every drop back that he has. And, it's not going to change wherever you go. So, yeah, quality guy that could get you a couple wins, but
maybe
I think he could get you a couple wins.
Like, another thing is, in Arizona, at least he can be like, hey, we drafted this guy, we've developed him, he was our guy, he was our first overall pick. You can put your stake in that as a fan. Whatever organization he goes to now, they're not going to care. They're just going to be like, oh, that's a $60 million quarterback who just got cut by the Arizona Cardinals, or shopped by the Arizona Cardinals. Like, do we really want that as our guy? Do we really want to hitch our wagon to him?
I know you guys get irritated when I ask quarterback questions, but I've got a different one. So please have an open mind. Okay.
Good. As long as this is a different one.
About the first overall pick and whether they should sign. Okay. I'm not asking that. So the NFL is the weirdest league when it comes to quarterbacks because it's the most important position, and you'll spend a first overall pick on it gladly. You'll do it 2 years in a row if you think it's going to help you win. There's no limit on what will be invested in terms of draft capital or money in a quarterback. But within 2 weeks of the start of the season, there's going to be 3 teams looking for a quarterback. Why don't they just take all of the quarterbacks who can throw the ball and have a reasonable amount of athleticism and just put them in an encampment somewhere where they just play football, throw the ball around, just they keep in shape, and you pay them to do that. And then when you need somebody, you just go get Larry.
You know what? I would also, like, in this dream scenario, I have a big house with a hot tub.
Sure.
And a
you
wife.
can have a TV
show. But unfortunately,
Quarterback Island.
Yeah. Like, the closest thing because if you're not a starting quarterback in the league, there isn't 32 quarterbacks in the league good enough to start. There just isn't.
It also, it kind of strips these guys of their autonomy a little bit.
But you'd pay them. What is the quarterback who doesn't play in the NFL? You didn't sign. You're still pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't sign. You're probably rich enough to go home. But what if you have to get a job at the Piggly Wiggly? This would be better.
You know what this is? This is Tide saying that the NFL should be employing Jameis Winston, and he goes and plays for a new team every week. He saw that tweet and is like, I'm going to turn this into my own thing right now.
How many teams did Vinny Testaverde play for? 60.
Let me ask you this. Is this so in this situation, is it like, hey, you play a game for them, you go back to the pen?
Yeah.
So I guess my argument would be like, why would the players agree to that when they could get one game check and then get sent back to, I hate calling it the pen.
You're paying them well.
Yeah,
the
but
league, the NFL has more money than the Rockefellers.
True. But you also, they wouldn't be paid as well if they were just on a roster all year. And players would probably, I think a lot of times, put the belief in themselves like, hey, I'll make a roster somewhere, as opposed to play this waiting game.
The NFL is doing its best to sewer kickers. Maybe they can take the money they spend on kickers to have a quarterback island.
It starts with
kickers deserve to be sewered.
I want kickers out of the league.
No. This is interesting to me. I'm going to read this headline. I want you guys to riff off of it because I spend most of my time staring at National Hockey League teams and playing along at home. That's what I call it. That's how I write. That's how I do the show. That's how I talk to people. Karen and I talk, and I treat her like the general manager, and I'm the coach. And we know the status of the GM in the NHL and the coach. NFL. Sean Payton expects the Broncos to extend GM George Payton. I find that to be an interesting headline. Who's in charge of the Broncos?
The Waltons. Rob Walton.
But who makes, they're going to the combine. Howie Roseman, I know with the Eagles, he's got an eagle eye for talent. So
yeah, I mean, it'll be their amateur scouting department. That stems from George's staff.
And how much input does Payton have on the draft and acquisition and procurement and free agency?
Sean Payton?
Yeah.
I bet he has a lot in that organization.
Does he have more than George?
Probably about equal.
Okay. I just find the dynamic interesting. And in the NBA, it's the players who have all the control. Am I right?
No, yeah. The unbelievable. Their CBA, man, is incredible. Their revenue share, they have everything going for them.
But hey, just watch the highlights on YouTube.
I'm so mad at myself right now because I had a thing that I wanted to talk about, and I hit the X, because I got 16 things open. Drives me nuts, but I got it back. Joel Embiid, been out since the 7th of February. That's a long time during a regular season. Knee and shin injuries. Returned last night, 27 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 26 minutes of action, 135, 114, 76ers. So you said a long time ago, young Declan, you're kind of like a seer, sort of a witch. You're a witchy guy. You said they shouldn't play Embiid more than 25 games during the year, get him ready for the playoffs, and then play him in the playoffs. That's what's happening.
Yeah. But here, even still, like, despite that, do you have any faith that he'll be there in the playoffs?
No. And I think they'll lose in 3 or 4. My faith in the 76ers is now basically the Dr. J era, the championship. And then I've loved watching Barkley and Iverson and all those guys.
You've actually had it pretty good as a 76ers fan, all things, like, comparatively to some other franchises.
Well, I don't feel like I do.
I know, but how many franchises got to watch Dr. J, Moses Malone, Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson, Joel Embiid? You got 3 years of Ben Simmons. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm coming over there.
God,
it's going to be
so.
It's going to be ugly.
For that was really
and it's
bad.
going to be.
There's
going to be like an iron on flesh over there in a minute. You said they had 3 years of Ben Simmons like it was a positive.
It kind of was a positive.
Pretty good years.
Unfortunately, it ended with him just giving up a layup and passing to.
Ben Simmons right now is in Lexington, Kentucky, trying to force himself to throw the ball into the basket at some playground.
No, he's fishing on the Mississippi right now. He's a pro fisherman. You didn't see this?
It's actually pretty insane how his career went. Like, we don't really dive into it that much, but it's pretty crazy.
Well, we were all touting him as like the next great point forward, essentially, because he was 6'10". He just couldn't shoot.
Hey, LeBron. We're good.
LeBron. We got Ben Simmons.
Only the 76ers would say, trust the process, and the process drives right into the sewer ditch. It's a ditch with a sewer in it. That's what the Eagles did.
Well, at a certain point, you literally have to say, yep, like the process is complete. We got our guys, and then be like, yeah, we're good. And then 2019 was about as close to them saying, yeah, the process is over in a successful way as it could have happened, because had they gone to overtime, they would have won.
The process in Philadelphia turned into an S sandwich. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, but you also, like, there were some pretty decent highs there for that team. You got a league MVP. You had a lot of really good winning seasons where you were competitive. Like, listen, it's not, it wasn't good overall. Like, if the question is, was it good or bad? You would say bad because of how it all ended.
Not a single Eastern Conference Finals.
Never, obviously, no conference finals. Points? I mean, you got to watch the league MVP. Like, that's
who disintegrate.
You had some good
his
winning
knees.
seasons.
It was like on Sims when you let the guy sit in the chair and then the ants eat him. Same damn thing.
Yeah.
Crazy Sims reference from Lowetide.
But, like, would you rather have that 3-year stretch, or would you rather be?
I don't want the ants.
All
right. Okay. You've got you're talking hoops and declinations at 140, right?
Hoops.
Matt Larkin, Daily Face-Off next. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Business owners, if rising electricity costs are cutting into your profits, there's a smarter way forward. Right now, federal clean technology tax credits can cover 30 to over 50% of the cost of a commercial solar system, delivering an immediate return on your investment. And in Edmonton and Sturgeon County, the Commercial Clean Energy Improvement Program offers long-term financing for up to 20 years, making solar more affordable than ever. Lock in lower energy costs for decades and strengthen your bottom line. Visit GreatCanadianSolar.com to get started.
You wanted local sports on weekends. Saturday mornings at 9, check out the Saturday Sports Setup, where we'll tee up what's happening on the weekend sports scene. Tune in Saturday morning at 9 on Sports 1440.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Oh, Canada. Jiffy Lube is here to keep you moving through mornings like these. Full synthetic oil changes, quality Pennzoil products, tire checks, battery tests, and everything else your car needs to get through our winters. Stop by Jiffy Lube for fast, easy, warranty-approved service. No appointment, no hassle. Just dependable service right when you need it. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving through this.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's 12:39. This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. Kevin McCertie joining us at 1 o'clock today. We have Declinations at 1:40 and lots of Oilers talk and getting ready for the big game against the Anaheim Ducks. NHL is back. We'll have the pregame at 7 o'clock with Walker, Steady Talker, and it's going to be a fun day and evening. Gregor in there as well. Delighted to be joined right now, and good time for it, too. Matt Larkin joins us from Daily Faceoff. We're back. I missed the NHL so damn much.
I did too, Al, although I got to say, it was pretty spectacular, that Olympic tournament. At the same time, it does feel like it's almost like a mini off season. It's been that long, right? It's 21 days between games.
Yeah, it really has. And it's been, you know, the one thing, and I don't want to get into too much, but I'm disappointed at everything that has been said and occurred since the gold medal game. But that gold medal game was just absolute peak hockey. It was fantastic. No matter who won, that was a great, great hockey game.
I totally agree. And, you know, even though if you're a Canadian, of course, the result was disappointing, but at the same time, sometimes for a rivalry to really become a rivalry, the other side has to win once in a while. And I think it lights the fire that much more for the next time they meet. So I think narratively, the result wasn't necessarily bad, especially because it was such a good game. It was back and forth. Canada did everything but score. You look at the expected goal, all those statistics, they were all over the Americans. You just couldn't get that one final goal.
If you're the Americans, you've got to feel really good about men's and women's hockey. They climbed the peak, and oftentimes there'd be something that would go wrong. The women have won previously, the USA women, but for the guys, it always felt like there was one thing or a bad penalty or a blown play or something like that. I don't want to oversell it. Canada was the better team, but Hellebuyck, was brilliant. And they, for me, this could ignite a new era for Team USA and especially men's hockey, where they are, at least co-favorites when you go into a big tournament.
You know what's interesting? I actually see it a little differently. I think we witnessed the beginning of something on the women's side. I think that team was just so big, so young, so strong, so fast. And the star power, especially Caroline Harvey, I just felt like for the first time ever, the Americans were in a different tier than the Canadians. And I think that might be something we see continuing for a while. On the men's side, I actually think there was a lot of pressure for them to win this time, because I think Canada, if you look at the upcoming draft classes and recent draft classes and what players are at the top, what countries are they from, I think Canada has more reinforcements on the way, whether it's going to be Matthew Schaefer on defense, Connor Bedard, Gavin McKenna, Landon Dupont, the list goes on, right? So I think that we're going to see the Canadian program actually trending back up and getting younger. So I actually think if you're a Canadian, there's no reason to worry, because the program is going to have a surge back in the right direction, especially with what you saw Macklin Celebrini do as a 19-year-old, not just hanging with other superstars, but being one of the best players on the ice consistently.
So there's not going to be a big Canada government train from Halifax to Vancouver talking to little communities about what's wrong with hockey?
I don't think so. I think that train should have been sent the day the team was, and that decor. I think we saw the mistakes on paper. On December 31st, it was there in plain sight.
It really was an interesting group of selections. All right, let's talk NHL. Let's start with trade deadline. I've been staring at what the possibilities are. Bobby McMahon, some people say Nazem Kadri for the Edmonton Oilers, a defenseman, right side defenseman. They don't have any money. It's got to be dollars in and dollars out, and probably cost them extra to send Andrew Mangiapane away. Today I was reading somebody saying that Sergei Bobrovsky isn't re-signed, and maybe he'd be going somewhere. There's an inner craziness. We're a week away, but there's an inner craziness already because of the Olympic break and general managers being antsy. I feel like almost anything can happen here at the deadline.
It's true. It's going to be very fascinating. I think what's really leading to the unpredictability is just the parity in the standings, right? It's being so much tighter. We are finally seeing a little bit of separation. We saw, of course, the Rangers declared themselves sellers basically with their movement of Panarin. The Canucks, I think, are clear sellers. You have so many teams that are on the razor's edge. Even the Toronto Maple Leafs out here, they win going into the break, and that muddies the waters just when you think they're going to be a seller. You have the Columbus Blue Jackets going on a huge run. They're back in the race. The Ottawa Senators are back in the race. You have teams like the LA Kings that are supposed to be buying, and then they lose Kevin Fiala, and suddenly they're in danger. So I think that's the number one factor that's going to create unpredictability. You may have teams literally waiting to see how the next week plays out. And do they win all their games? Do they lose all their games? Do they stay kind of on the bubble? And I think San Jose Sharks, that's another team I'd be looking at closely. They're supposedly buyers. They trade for Kiefer Sherwood, but they're now 5 points out of a playoff spot. What if they go on a losing streak over the next week? Do you pivot and have to start selling off pieces there too? So that's the number one factor to me. I also wonder just how much the playoff salary cap is going to hold teams back. Yes. I did talk to some GMs recently that are a little bit reticent. They wonder if it's going to be a little more difficult to make sure your lineup is cap compliant. You have to factor in if you have anybody back.
I'm probably, I'll probably, Matt Larkin, our guest from Daily Faceoff, go counter to everything you've talked to Toronto fans about. But I think it's okay that they are not, sellers right now. They've got a week to decide. It is a crazy year. And, when you sell, the rest of the spring and early part of the summer is a tough time. I feel like they're giving this team every chance to show them something, and I'm okay with that.
I think they are, but if I'm a Leafs fan, I don't want to see them go on a heater over the next week. If you can slide down into the bottom five, you get your first round pick back for one. And also, I just think that the window, it was missed. It was last year. You took Florida to Game 7. You lose Mitch Marner, 102-point score. This team is just simply not what it was. And I think management has to be realistic about it. And you look at a player like Bobby McMahon, for example. Well, with that playoff cap and also no more double salary retention, a cap hit of $1.35 million, that's a very valuable player. there might be a premium paid. You might be able to get a first-round pick. You might get an overpay for a player like that. And I think you have to, if you have some good assets to sell high. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, another good example, having a great year. He's got the championship pedigree with the Panthers. He's in his mid-30s. He's probably going to decline next year. So I think you have to cash out that chip if you get a good offer.
Well, McMahon's such an interesting player. The Oilers' projected lineups are out, and it's McDavid with Nugent, Hyman, Draisaitl with Savoy and Roslovic, and then Henrique with Podkolzin and Frederick. They'd love to have another, Podkolzin type, so they could put Podkolzin back with Draisaitl and maybe McMahon with Henrique and Frederick to have a kind of a tough nut line with some skill and McMahon having some speed as well. But as you said, if you're Toronto, it's uncertain who would give you the best offer, but if you've got 5 teams dealing, you're probably going to get an exceptional return for a guy who's, let's give him credit. This is a guy who has turned himself through hard work and obviously skill into a plus player in the NHL. Leafs stand to, really do some good business here at the deadline should they choose to trade him.
It's true. And I think, there might be some hesitation on the part of Leaf fans because they may have flashbacks about Zach Hyman, who was roughly the same age when the Leafs let him walk. And I think you have to understand that Hyman's career trajectory is an exception, not a norm in terms of what he did into his 30s. Bobby McMahon is a late bloomer. He's already 29 years old. So he's very much an anomaly in terms of just what he's done and how long it took him to break through as an NHLer. And I do think if the price is a first-round pick, you have to consider it. I do like that fit a lot for Edmonton because you could get him in at a very low number and still maybe have money left over to chase that right shot defenseman to help your penalty kill in particular.
It's an interesting time in Ottawa, and I don't have an answer, and I'm not going to make it political, but I know that there's a lot of fans in Ottawa online talking about Brady Tkachuk and winning the gold medal for the United States. And then somebody asked me yesterday about, do you think Canadian teams will stop drafting American players? And I said, no, I don't think that's going to be it. But it is an unusual time. And I've always felt that Brady Tkachuk eventually would find his way to an American team, whether through free agency or via trade. The Senators are an interesting team, and I'm not sure where they're going to go. They don't need any kind of headache or distractions, but what's your sense of the situation in Ottawa here as they prepare for what they hope is a strong run?
What a strange season they've had. Under Travis Green, they've been one of the best defensive teams in the entire NHL. It has not shown in their goal differential because their goaltending has been so bad, but their habits are good. But I still think, going into the season, I wonder if they're going to have trouble getting over the hump because they really didn't add much to their finishing. I just didn't expect to be the goaltending to be what's held them back. And now you're 6 points out of a playoff spot. You're supposedly pushing forward. You go more than half a decade without making the playoffs. I think it's a tough sell to be right back out. So I wouldn't be surprised if they hold on to the last second before they consider selling off. Does someone try to rent a Claude Giroux and a Nick Jensen, someone like that? As for Brady Tkachuk, I agree. I do think there's a little bit of fire to the smoke there. Especially when you consider how sick he was of losing. It takes him 7 years to get to the playoffs. And if he's right back out, I think the summer is going to be very interesting. And I do think we could see him going the way of his brother and eventually trying to find a way out. It just doesn't feel like he's long for Ottawa. I'm not saying something's going to happen in the next week, but I think in the summer, there will be a lot of discussion about it if Ottawa misses the playoffs.
It's very fair. Final question, but it's a big one for you, Matt Larkin from Daily Faceoff. The Oilers are in an interesting spot here. They have hired Paul Coffey, and they hired him, and there were rumblings that he didn't want to come. There was rumblings that maybe the coaching staff wasn't thrilled that this was happening. They don't have a lot of time before the deadline. They played it was a miserable 8-game homestand, and they've got Henrique coming back. They've called up Savoy. They've got Josh Szymanski, who is one of their better bottom 6 players in the minors. They can't bring him up because of cap. From the outside, it looks very chaotic. And Coffey is, I guess, the defense whisperer. But does it, from afar, does it feel like that's a lot of ask for any franchise and coaching staff to find the answers in such a short space of time?
It does. And I was worried about it going into the season. And if you look at the pieces Edmonton lost, there are just so many depth pieces from the team that went to the final, especially at forward, that they did not retain, or they chose to let them go. And yes, I know the Jeff Skinners and Victor Arvidssons of the world were not needle movers, but when you lose so many NHL players, you force so many guys up the lineup who might not be ready for that level of responsibility or no longer are capable of that level of responsibility. So the former might be Matt Savoy, the latter might be Andrew Mangiapane. And the crazy thing is that's not even the biggest problem for the team. I thought forward depth was going to be the Achilles heel, but the defensive play, which was so important ever since Chris Knoblock came in, it has regressed badly, especially on the PK, and you haven't really necessarily solved your goaltending problem either. To me, that was foresight 2020, not hindsight. Tristan Jarry's career trajectory has been very Stuart Skinner-like. He's been very volatile as well. So I'm not really surprised that the hole was not plugged there. So to me, just looking at the whole of it, I think it's an uphill climb. And I'm not saying the Oilers are going to miss the playoffs, but I'm saying this might be a year where you have to accept that, okay, we're not going to go on this deep run to the final. We don't quite have the horses. That's okay. It happens. You can't get there every single year. I just think there are too many holes to plug right now, especially when you consider where they are cap-wise.
Matt Larkin, Daily Faceoff. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
There you go. Matt Larkin, Daily Faceoff. I know you read him, and I know you hear about him and hear him. And there he is, live on the Lowdown. The lines and pairings are out. This is courtesy Bob. McDavid with Nuge and Hyman. Draisaitl with Savoy and Roslovic. That's interesting. That is an interest. I don't know that it'll last, but that's some high torque skill there. Not a lot of size, but there's some real skill there with Savoy and Roslovic. Remember, Leon had tremendous success with Kailer Yamamoto in January of 2020 through to the beginning of the pandemic, which was March, right? March 2020, I believe that's correct. Henrique with Podkolzin and Frederick. That's your big, tough to play against, grumbly bear, rugged, let's call it the Josh Fenwick line. Like when I'm walking to get a cup of coffee, Josh will, slap me into the wall, that kind of thing. I think that line can have that kind of aggressiveness for no reason, which is what Josh does. And then Lazar with Mangiapane and Janmark. I like Lazar with Frederick. We'll see. These are the lines. I mean, they could shuffle them 3 minutes into the game. Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Wallman. I know you're thrilled. Stastny, Emerson. Looks like Jari starts over Ingram as they begin. It's not the second half. It's the final rush towards the National Hockey League playoffs. Josh earlier suggested the Oilers wouldn't make it. I was surprised, but you never know. Is that
is not
face?
What I suggested.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
But what I said was Chris Knoblock is in trouble because if they miss the playoffs, which there is a real possibility could happen.
Well, 1,000 pardons. I would never misquote you or make something up about you.
Well, you just made up a bunch of stuff. Not the slapping you, but, everything else was
and the good thing is you're teaching Mackenzie to do these activities.
That's right. She's taken after me greatly.
You think that's wise, Mackenzie, as a career path?
I would say probably not. And
sure it is. I work here. I don't
know how much I can influence Josh and his decisions because he is a 21-year-old boy, and they are going to do what they want.
Listen. We're going to take a break while you bleed out. How's about that? We've got Kevin McCertie on the way. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube. It's time for an update with Mackenzie.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Custom Floors, Inc. Floors done right for homes and businesses. Visit the new showroom at 11577 149th Street. Now open 6 days a week with Saturday hours from 10 to 2. Or visit customfloorsinc.ca and bring your next flooring project to life. NHL is back tonight with 8 games on the slate. Oilers are in Anaheim at 8:30. We've got pregame coverage with Andrew Walker starting at 7. Toronto takes on Tampa Bay. Winnipeg looks to make up some ground against Vancouver, and the Golden Knights duke it out against the Kings. Penguins captain Sidney Crosby has been placed on IR and will be out of the lineup for a minimum of 4 weeks. 6 games in the association. Toronto kicking things off against the Red Hot Spurs at 5:30. OKC is in Detroit. Cavaliers take on the Bucks. Boston, Denver has the late slate. In spring training, the Blue Jays are up 3-0 against the Tigers at the bottom of the 5th. And in the AJ, Devon is in Lloydminster. Puck drop at 7. I'm Mackenzie, and that's your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick.
The Oilers again. It's a
The Blue Jays are World Series champions. As Joe Turner hits a 3-run home run in the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch them all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home.
With Peterson back in there. Peterson at the basket. Slithers in and hits. Well, they put him back in. They slithered to the goal like a rat.
Hello. You're never going to believe this. Booster Juice called your name today. You can get a free smoothie or acai bowl.
No way. I'm heading there now.
Oh my gosh, you and my brother had the same name. Okay, I'm calling him next. I'm hanging up.
Booster Juice Names of the Day is back. 2 names are selected each day, and if your name matches, you can get a free smoothie or an acai bowl. Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. Must be an app member to qualify. Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
Do you listen to sports radio at work? Like right now? Well, do you?
Who, me? No way. I swear.
Okay, friend, we won't tell. Tens of thousands of sports fans listen to Sports 1440 each and every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. If you listen to Sports 1440 at work, well, maybe it's time to advertise on Sports 1440 at work. Grow your business. Get your name out there. Shoot our ad team an email. Gregor@sports1440.ca. Let's get to work for you.
Oh, Canada. Jiffy Lube is here to keep you moving through mornings like these. Full synthetic oil changes, quality Pennzoil products, tire checks, battery tests, and everything else your car needs to get through our winters. Stop by Jiffy Lube for fast, easy, warranty-approved service. No appointment, no hassle. Just dependable service right when you need it. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving through this.
Breaking down the fine art of sports, one rep at a time. The Lowdown with Lowetide. Thanks for checking out Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Family-owned, community-driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. We're into hour number 2 of the show. If you missed it, via Bob. Here are the lines and pairings. McDavid with Nuge and Hyman. Draisaitl with Savoy and Roslovic. That's a cool skill line. And a big tough line, or at least a big line. Henrique with Podkolzin and Frederick. Lazar, Mangiapane, Janmark. Defense is the same. Nurse Wallman on the second pair, and Jari slated to start. We are joined now by Kevin McCertie. Kevin, how are you?
Well, and how are you doing this week?
I'm good. I was interested in the lines and pairings, and that Draisaitl line is. It's undersized. Draisaitl's had success with Karo Yamamoto in the past. Savoy is not as small as Yamamoto. He's highly skilled. Roslovic also skilled. I'm interested in seeing that line. Is that what jumps out at you based on the lines that and pairings that Bob sent out?
I'm only just now looking at them, and I don't really have any issues with it. I think that's not really a surprise to see Savoy and Roslovic back with Draisaitl. They had some success with it before. I'm a little bit surprised to see Adam Henrique go back to 3C, but we gotta see if we can get him going or what the rest of his season is going to look like for us. I think the lines are pretty good for coming out of the break, all things considered.
Based on the numbers, and I know they're small, it's like 116 minutes. Lazar and Frederick have not surrendered a 5-on-5 goal yet. I kind of like that because I don't think you need the fourth line to score. You just can't give up a bunch of goals when they're on the ice.
Yeah, it just I don't know. So Frederick's with Henrique and Podkolzin, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's a nice big line in terms of physicality. Hopefully we can see Frederick having a little bit of rest and some time with his family. Hopefully he can step out of the gate running here. I don't, the fourth line is it is what it is. It's kind of what happens when you have pieces left of your roster that you have to kind of put somewhere. And rumors are as Mangiapane's on the way out. That's been a rumor for several weeks now, if not months. So I'll believe it when I see it, despite what the insiders have to say about it. So hopefully that's something materializes there so we can change the look a bit. But I'm, again, interested to see what it looks like tonight.
We had Matt Larkin on from Daily Faceoff last hour, and he, in his own words, he basically said this might be the year to keep the powder dry in Edmonton. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure. This team has to make the playoffs. There's going to be a price tag attached to any player they bring in. Plus, they've got to offload the Mangiapane contract, and that's going to mean other assets. Where are you with this team now? I get the feeling, based on what the media is saying, that right defense is important, but you could use a right-handed center. Maybe a bigger winger, although perhaps they think they've solved it with that third line. Where are you in terms of investing capital to improve this team as it's currently populated?
I think I'm of the same opinion of Mr. Larkin there. I think I would probably not be emptying the cupboards. We've spent the last 4 or 5 years now emptying the cupboards year after year after year. And at a certain point, you kind of have to sit for a moment and reset that a little bit. Bowman's done a pretty good job of getting us some up-and-coming prospects out of not draft picks, but the draft picks situation hasn't been great. I think you make as good a run of it as you can, and I think you definitely need to make a move or two to shore up some areas of weakness. But I'm not sure I would be spending 3 firsts on anything for 25, 26, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, the roster as I see it, a lot of the veterans who were signed did not work out, but they don't have a Corey Perry. Who could play up and down the lineup and was brilliant in the offensive zone. He just was so damn good. And those guys aren't, they're not really available via trade. Is there anybody out there, if they were going to make a deal, that you feel would be a great fit, either on right defense at center or maybe a bigger winger?
I don't have any specific targets. There's been a lot of rumors out there, Perbix, for example, and there's a lot of upsides and downsides with the names available. Perbix had a really strong season last year, but every other season in the past 5 has been fairly mediocre. There's a few other examples of players like that. So it really just depends on what version of a player that we get. They've talked about transition play and puck moving, and they've talked about stay-at-home defensemen, and they've talked about that 3C position being important, and we hope that Szymanski is able to potentially fill those shoes eventually. Notably, today was the first day that they could call Savoy up due to cap accrual so that they could get him back on the roster. I don't think that unless they move Mangiapane, there's no further possible moves there from a pure cap perspective. But in terms of like trades, I don't see anybody out there, unless you can like pry somebody like Artem Zub out of Ottawa something like really like earth shattering, I guess. And I know people would be hesitate to use earth shattering and Zub in the same sentence, but he's a fantastic player.
He really is.
There's a number of those kinds of players that if you could pry them out of a team that was prepared to move them, then sure, go ahead. Spend the assets, especially if you can get some term with it. But the term is important because I think this season is really important for the team sort of seeing it out, getting to that cap openings that are happening in the summer. There's I think about 18 million in cap coming free. You're free of some no movement clauses, and Adam Henrique, and in all likelihood Andrew Mangiapane is gone. So like I think it's important that they get to that spot where they can spend some money because they have it and they're not tied down by no movement clauses that have been absolutely hamstringing them up to this point.
Kevin McCertie, our guest on Sports 1440 and YouTube. Josh Szymanski, does he belong on this team? And if he does, where on the depth chart?
I believe he's made quite a case for himself so far, given his very limited experience at this level. Leon spoke very highly of him during his time at the Olympics, and he played a heavy role with the German team. Arguably the German team is not as deep as other nations, but it was really cool for him to get that experience with Leon and his other friend there. I think that Szymanski has the potential to be a 3C and a fairly significant one at that, but we need to continue to develop him and make him get to that point.
So let's talk Olympics. Everybody here has had a chance to tell their sad tale of woe and heartbreak, and it was a great game. But
Yes,
what was your take? What was your take on the game and the result and the overall feel of losing the Olympic gold, men and women's side, to what is now the arch rival, United States?
First off, I think it's fair to say that the United States deserves a congratulations due to them for being the winners of the gold medal for both sports. They've assembled pretty fantastic teams, especially on the women's side. Really, really strong hockey from their organization as a whole. I like what the Canadians have put together for the most part. I do think that the boys and the ladies gave it everything they possibly had. I have no complaints about what the roster as assembled put on the ice. Do you wish McKinnon hit that goal home? Sure. Do you wish that they didn't miss some of those opportunities? Absolutely. That's heartbreaking stuff, man. I'm sure Nathan McKinnon's going to have nightmares about that moment for the next 10 years. That stuff happens. That's hockey. It's bounces. Do I wish that maybe Hockey Canada had considered the injury status of some of their players coming into the Olympics a little bit more? Yeah, I do. When you have guys like Josh Morrissey, who I'm not even sure he played a single game in the Olympics, or Marchand and Bennett, who are notably hurt. There's rumors that Marchand is headed for surgery either now or towards the end of the season. Do you look at bringing somebody else that is at 100% or is at least at 95%? I think that there's a case to be made that, there should have been a little bit, the needs of the team and the nation to have healthy guys should have outweighed the loyalty to the previous group that won 4 nations. Overall, I think it was an excellent tournament. I do not love 3v3 as a format for overtime. That's not a comment on the Olympics itself in terms of like the outcome of the game. The outcome is legitimate. I have no concerns that, the Americans are legitimately the gold medalists. I can never take that from them, and I would never do that because that was the outcome of the game. Just as purely a hockey kind of traditionalist or purist, I think that championship hockey should be played 5-on-5 regardless of who's playing in that game. And I think that there might be an opportunity there that they should think about that come the next Olympics. I think the Stanley Cup is the gold standard of competitive championship hockey. And I think that there's a really a case to be made that changing the rules of a championship final after the 60 minutes is over really does potentially affect the outcome of the game.
Yeah, it changes the game. It's no longer pure hockey for sure. You bring up another point, Kevin, and I want to have you kind of extrapolate on it. I'll give you my background. I first started noticing this. Harry Sinden was the coach of the Boston Bruins when they won the Stanley Cup in 1970. And he resigned. I think he wanted to be general manager. By the time 72 came along, the Bruins won again. He was no longer a coach. Tom Johnson was. But Sinden was placed in charge of Team Canada, the club that would play the Russians in 1972 in the Super Series that anybody my age remembers backwards. Sinden took Don Orey, one of my favorite players, not Bobby Orr, but Don Orey, and he was a defensive defenseman. And by any measure, he would not have been a player that would have been chosen maybe by Scotty Bowman or another coach at the time had they been in charge. And that sort of thing has always been a part of hockey. I remember Glenn Sather took like 8 All-Stars, not that they weren't great players, but 8 All-Stars to one of the All-Star games. 8 Oilers made the All-Star team, and they were all brilliant, but that's 8 guys from one team. And I watched this play out, and I think that it's hard to not make it personal. I don't mean it to be, but I think maybe we're at a point here where I'm going to go with my guy, and I don't. The agent would be mad if we didn't take this. I think there's a lot of things in play that don't belong in the decision making as it pertains to a national team. I don't know how to get around it, and I'm not sure what the process would be. But do you think that kind of thing where, the GM and the coach maybe line up and there's several of their players or at least players on their team that are in important spots, do you think that kind of thing needs to be reviewed, or are you okay with how the process works?
I think Hockey Canada's process as a whole needs to be reworked. I don't think that this is a universally a women's or a men's problem. I think that there needs to be some removal of the politicking from it and some real soul searching done here. The Olympics are a best of best tournament. You bring the best possible team, regardless of whose feelings that hurts, to compete. I don't think that that's really that controversial of you. I think there's guys on the roster that, frankly, didn't deserve to be there in consideration of guys that got left off of it, whether that's, Connor Bedard or potentially, people have talked about Mark Scheifele. One could make a comparison between Marchand and Corey Perry, for example, and Perry was healthy and Marchand wasn't. I don't really love the fact that an active GM of an NHL team was the decision maker on terms of selecting players for this team. I think they need to somehow review that process going forward, because I think it introduces bias that shouldn't be there.
All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. What are your expectations tonight? This is a team that hasn't practiced a lot with the whole team, but Paul Coffey is there. I'm hoping we see better outlet passes and the gaps between forwards and defense being less. I'm hoping we see fewer of those slam passes up the middle that end up being icing or just tipping it in for line changes. What are you hoping to see, and what do you think we'll see?
Well, what I'm hoping to see is a team that is ready to go, and what I'm expecting to see is a team that looks a little bit rusty after having been off the proverbial ice for 3 weeks. The Oilers are not known for having the best starts coming out of the break, so I think it's very important that they get off on the right foot here, so to speak, and get things going as soon as possible. They're not in the same points advantage position that they've been in other seasons, and they are going to be in dogfight right through to the end of the season at this point. I think it's very important that they get going and get going very quickly. Again, as you said, I think outlet passes and generally just defensive transition is a huge portion of what's coming and what needs to happen. I hope Paul Coffey is able to reinstill some of those habits in this team. But I'm going to be really interested to see what the defensive core looks like over the next 2 or 3 games.
Well, spring has arrived, Kevin, and I know that you've been skating and getting in shape. How's that going?
Pretty good. I've got 2 games under my belt now. I've got a third tomorrow night. It's real, honestly, it's a process. Take as much time away from the sport as I have, and everything feels a little bit foreign, and your timing's all out and everything. You still think about the game the same way, but just the lungs aren't there, and getting them back takes time. So it's been really good to get out there and get going again. I've really liked the experience. I'm looking forward to playing in the Heavy Hockey Showdown next month. Again, a reminder, that's a fundraiser for the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton, which is an excellent charity. If you want to donate to that cause, you can reach out to me on Twitter or any of the Heavy Hockey representatives, and we can hook you up with the information for that.
Beautiful. Love it. And if you're not skating with a chair, you're doing better than a lot of folks. Don't worry about that. Thanks for this. Appreciate it, Kevin.
No worries. Have a good week, everyone.
There you go. Kevin McCertie talking about the Oilers, the Olympics, the game tonight, and skating with a chair. Are you a good skater, Josh? Are you a skater boy?
All right, Avril Lavigne. I haven't been skating in a long time, but working next to Brandon every day and him just being like, yeah, I got to skate today at 2, and then I'm going to play with the Tropics at 10:30 or whatever. I'm like, man, I really should buy some new skates and get back out there.
I'll lend you my bone skates from the 1920s if you need them.
No, that's good. That's
All
good.
right.
I think I'll rock with the new technology.
Okay. What about you, Mackenzie? We've talked about previously you didn't play, organized hockey or anything like that. Are you a good skater?
I wouldn't say great, but I can.
Good news.
But,
he didn't say great either. He just asked if you were good.
But I would say I usually get out onto the ODR once a year at least. But I've had probably the same pair of skates for 10 years.
Okay.
At least.
Now, were you more hockey or did you just skate for pleasure?
Just skate.
Yeah.
We would play a little shinny like that, but nothing crazy.
Yeah. I remain the worst skater in history, and that began at the beginning, and it is maintained all through my life. All right. On the way, it's 1:19. We're going to talk about tonight's game and about what we hope to see, what we will see, and how important it is that this team grabs some California points. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Mr. Rooter gets a colonoscopy. All right, Mr. Rooter, just relax. We're almost finished.
Now, what am I looking at on the screen?
That's your large intestine.
Wow. The pipes of the human body. Incredible. This is just like when we use a camera for sewer inspection, except you probably don't find tree roots.
You'd be surprised what we find.
Once I found a bunch of Hot Wheels.
Hey, me too.
For a plumber who values healthy pipes, call Mr. Rooter.
Made for some rough roads, but it means trails are now packed and ready for action. Don't miss out on riding adventures this winter with a Ski-Doo from Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. Work or play with new 2026 Generation 5 models with class-leading design and power. And right now, take advantage of 5.99% financing OAC. Only at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo, 15 Inglewood Drive in St. Albert, and always at riversidehonda.com. Shop local, shop Canadian.
They're not just a grocery store. They're a butcher, a baker, a cafe, deli, rotisserie pizza, and restaurant, all under one roof. Loca Quality Market does food differently with 2 locations to serve you, Edmonton and Sherwood Park. Visit loca.ca.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
McValue meals are here. Get the McDs you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, junior chicken, or chicken snack wrap with small fries and small fountain drink, all for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
You matter. Your mental health matters, and you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. Use code 1440 for 15% off at notalonecode.com. It's okay to not be okay.
The weather doesn't care about your shift or your schedule. Carhartt Rain Defender sweatshirts let you battle back against the ever-changing elements. Carhartt's durable, water-repellent technology lets light rain beat up and roll right off. Layer up and stay on the job longer without getting drenched. Get your Carhartt Rain Defender sweatshirts at all 3 of our Edmonton job site workwear locations.
Job site workwear, tough different tough jobs.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's 1:23. This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Do you know that I still think she has the largest range in terms of rock and roll singers. Pat Benatar could sing anything, like highs, lows, unbelievable. Mariah Carey did the scales all the time, but Benatar was fantastic.
I remember because actually part of me thought that was Joan Jett for a second.
Oh, it might have been.
I think you're right that it is Benatar.
Benatar,
but
okay.
The point I was going to bring up is one time my dad, I think he saw Joan Jett open for, forget who it was, but very famous artist. Like it was like Springsteen, or it was like,
oh yeah,
like it was someone super famous. But he said like Joan Jett blew the feature act out of the water.
Right.
Like wasn't even close. And that she put on such a good show as the opening act that like the entire crowd was let down for the feature performance.
Yeah. Did you ever hear the Runaways? Cherry Bomb? That was Joan Jett's band.
It was made into a movie with Kristen Stewart.
That's right. Okay. There we go.
Man, you and my dad would love to talk about music. Like that would be a conversation. Now, not to, pitch my dad as a product or anything for a podcast, but like you guys would love to talk about music.
Well, if you ever get a chance, now that we're on the subject, Diane Lane was in a movie. I think it was called The Fabulous Stains. They were a punk band, and I don't remember what year it was, but that's also a really, really great movie. Not as famous as the one you're referencing, but okay, we're back to hockey. We've done so well with sports. Let's stick with it today. This is Bob. McDavid, Nuge, and Hyman, the top line. Draisaitl with Savoy and Roslovic, the second line. Henrique, Podkolzin, Frederick, and then Lazar, Mangiapane, Janmark. We know there's going to be changes. We suspect Mangiapane might stay in California, for crying out loud. There should be a trade coming in the next week there. The question marks up front are at number 3 center, Henrique occupying that spot right now. Wrote about it at The Athletic today. There are other options. They don't use Nuge often as the third line center. Haven't since 2011. I think there was 1 year and he did well, but they've usually used Letestu, Ryan McLeod, Jack Roslovic a lot this year. So third line center is an area of worry. You've got Josh Szymanski in the minors. He seems like he can do it, pretty well. But that's a spot I think they'll try to solve internally. And here's why. The other spot that is an issue for them, or issue, as our friends at the CBC say, is second line right side with Nurse. It's Ekholm Bouchard tonight, Nurse Wallman. And Nurse Wallman, a year ago, they played a lot and they played well. And this year they have been not quite as good, but it's improving. But here's the thing. Jake Wallman gets hurt a lot. And the number 7 defenseman on this team would be Alec Regula. He's having a great run, by the way, in Bakersfield. In like 2 or 3 games, he's 5 goals for and 1 against at even strength, playing very, very well. And I think they want to upgrade that number 7 defenseman. And I don't know who, but I think at the very least we're going to see a defenseman come in here. Holland traded for a defenseman every year. Bowman is, I think, playing from pretty much the same playbook. We'll see how it goes. I think the key will be finding an internal centerman who can play the third line. Roslovic can do it, but his line gets outscored. Henrique's line really gets outscored, like 30% goal share. That kid, Szymanski, and Lazar are the backup options. So I want to go around the room. Whoever wants to answer can. You don't have to answer. Don't want to put anybody on the spot. Josh. Of the 3, number 3 center, bigger wing, the Frederick role. I'll say the Frederick role. Or number 2 right defenseman. Which of those is more important in your opinion?
Breaking news, Fork Founding Kitchen. It's the second pair right D-man. Their defense is so terrible. They need help there more than anywhere else, I think.
And that's a problem that only recently I'm sorry, I couldn't get through that without laughing. It's been a problem forever, since Adam Larson left, really.
Yeah, it's this is a big issue. Issue.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs to be fixed immediately. Something I said back in October. Fun fact.
Anybody else want to take a lash at that?
Yeah, I mean, like I'd say second pair, right, but it's also like,
wow, so original, Declan.
I know, but because it is like
following along.
Boosh, Wallman,
sleepy
we need
boy.
another puck mover, because I saw someone tweet it. They're like, we need another puck mover because 750 games into his career, Darnell Nurse still can't move the puck, and you're kind of sitting there like, wow, that's harsh, but yeah, that kind of is the scenario where we find ourselves in, isn't it? So it's not, again, yeah, it's not original, but
well, I think one of the things Coffey does is he convinces the defenseman. Well, he tells them, and then they follow through that they have more time. But your point is well taken. Can somebody tell me what's going on with Dreger and the doctor that diagnosed something, and Dreger pushed back and said, that's a doctor who can't possibly know.
And now the doctor's right, though.
Yeah.
The guy on Twitter.
Yeah, the guy who did it, the doctor was correct. And I mean,
I don't know why this would be much of a controversy. Like, the doctor diagnosed it from the video. You watched it live and was like, oh, it's an MCL sprain or whatever it was he said. And Darren Dreger, I think rightfully so, just said, why don't we wait for the MRI to come back?
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense to me. It's why we have the MRI machine. But, this guy was a doctor. So maybe don't just brush him off on Twitter like that, like he was a regular.
But don't you find Twitter is just waiting for this kind of thing to occur?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at what's going on with Frank now. Like, look at everything that's happened on Twitter since the U.S. has won the gold, essentially. Yeah. Like, it's just a war zone out there. We contributed to it. To be fair,
well, you personally did. I don't know that I or Mackenzie or Declan did, but you personally did.
We as a station, well,
you did.
Yeah, I very much did. Saying this is going to go triple platinum, and Kevin saying that Trent Frederick should kill Matthew Tkachuk. But everything's just like, this is just the way it is right now. Canadians are upset, and Americans are rah, and no one wants to be right. Or no one wants to be wrong. Everyone wants to be right. This is just like the world we live in currently.
Could you imagine, like, if Canada won?
Oh, man.
Like, none of these conversations would be happening right now.
Well, the
like, you have to
inverse
think
of these
about
conversations would be happening right now.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. Maybe like the Dreger one, But like a lot of the online discourse right now is not happening. And it's a tough week to be a hockey insider. I'll tell you that.
It truly is.
Tough time.
Yeah.
Here's one for baseball fans, Josh.
Okay.
Alec Manoah
said that he had a hand.
He said, I was a very big piece of that process getting to that World Series run. I watched it. I did not see that. Could you inform me about what Manoah did?
So that's a wonderful question. I just saw a thing on Twitter. The first time that I saw this response while you were on with Kevin, I was scrolling through, and it was the video of the guy who was pushing the subway as it was getting ready to take off. And I was like, yeah, all right. Yeah. Like, I don't know what he did, because in case anyone here remembers, he started the year in the minors and only went lower.
Yeah, he didn't. He was,
and then got waived.
Yeah, and then Anaheim signed him. And just so you know, when Anaheim signs you,
your
really
career's
are
over.
Yeah, this is the last chance, Texaco.
And I'd like to throw a caveat in there and say, unless your name is Mike Trout, but his career was over when he signed.
Yeah.
He hasn't left.
That's
So
really
I guess
sad.
the exception is Shohei Ohtani.
And the thing is that Trout, you can't tell people now who are not familiar, but Trout, not that long ago, was the best player in baseball, and he was shockingly good.
So did you see the MLB ranking for him this year? I think he was like 76 or something on the website.
Yeah.
Last year he was 4th, and like through the entire peak of Mike Trout's career, which is essentially from his rookie year to now, he was ranked anywhere from 5 to 1.
Yeah.
And after his rookie year, I don't think he fell lower than 3rd.
Yeah.
Like,
He was
that's
sort of
how
like
good
Soto,
Mike Trout was.
Soto, Judge, Ohtani every year. 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that.
And then, but you know, as good a hitter as Soto, maybe slightly worse, but a way better defender. Like such a good all-around player, super fast. Like Mike Trout was the entire package, and he went to the playoffs once. So, you know.
Yeah. And Artie Moreno, he just keeps saying the dumber, like it's like he can't possibly say something more stupid. No, yes, he can. And he proves it. Propane Pimp, defense is a mindset. It's not about 6 players. Imagine if everyone committed to it like they did in round 2 or 3 of 2025.
You just want more for Connor McDavid to do?
Or is this all because of Connor Brown? Well, I think one of the things they're hoping for with Trent Fred, remember Brown was just god-awful for most of his first year here, and then he started to get it together, and in the playoffs, he and Janmark were pretty damn good penalty killers together. I think they're hoping that Frederick catches lightning in a bottle, and I think Frederick is hoping Frederick catches lightning in a bottle too. But the Oilers have invested, they pay to the cap, man. They really do. And this is a tough town when things don't go well. So I'm going to say this, that I think that Knoblock's getting all kinds of hell from fans. Coffee arrives apparently not wanting to and not wanted. And Bowman is under the heat lamp every 5 seconds. I guess not heat lamp, but some kind of very uncomfortable lamp. Yeah. And I'm going to say, maybe these fellows could use some help from Tristan Jarry, from Darnell Nurse, from Trent Frederick, from Adam Henrique. That would be nice.
It's crazy that you're asking a guy who's paid $9.5 million to help out a little bit.
Manoah did play a big part. He got DFA'd in September, opened the roster spot for a better player from Mike.
Well, that better player was probably
Trey Savage.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
I mean, that was a roster spot. So, hey, you know what? That's a big piece of the puzzle. But I was going to say like something slanderous like IKF. who couldn't tag up on the base.
And we don't talk about that a lot, but you should be just foaming at the mouth angry if you're a Jays fan about that play.
Well, so I even said, I think I said it to you. I think I said it every time I was brought on mic on Monday, was that I still think Game 7 sucked more than the gold medal game. You went to overtime. That's the best you can ask. And I know Game 7 of the World Series went to extras.
Yeah,
but you were up.
The thing that was Expo like to me, Montreal Expos had a way of just taking you right to the brink, and you're so happy. You're just in a euphoric state, and then your heart breaks. Rick Monday hits a home run. Life is over. You just stare at the wall.
It chopped down a tree.
Oh my God. I did, I mean, it's just like, it's so like the Jays have not had that life. Like when somebody says to you, the Jays, the Expos, there's no different than being a fan. That's a lie. The Jays have 2 World Series victories, and they've had a hell of a lot of great players go through town. The Expos had great players go through town, but they never won a World Series. They never got to a World Series. So this was an Expos-like thing where your closer is in the game to close out, and some guy who is old and doesn't have great bat speed hits it out. Oh my God.
It's just like and you could see him waiting for the slider.
He was sitting on it.
He was sitting on it. He was waiting for it. So just give him the cheese, man. You already had him at 2 strikes. It was a full count.
Slide piece went to the moon. It was a dart. It went fast.
Oh yeah, it was gone. That's the part that irks me is like, it was literally right there. Your job is to pitch. And I know like I could be as upset about it as I am as like Nathan McKinnon absolutely whiffing. I'm not really that upset about the Devin Taves thing. I think that was a Hellebuyck save. Unfortunately, the Duke and I are on the wrong side of the opinion because everyone else says it was 100% luck. Devin Taves got the puck in the air, and Hellebuyck made a great save. That's why he got the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Which is
free bird.
Keep on rocking in the free world, everybody. All right, 137. I'm cutting this off. It can't go anywhere good. Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on Sealy memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick at South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side, and downtown.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru. Engineered for Canadian winters, built for real-life confidence. Tackle the ice and snow with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, delivering the power, control, stability, and grit you need. And when the temperature plummets, you'll cruise in comfort with heated seats and heated steering wheel. All this plus peace of mind with Subaru's top safety pick status for 19 years running. This winter, it's time to get you into a Subaru. Visit Subaru.ca today.
He knows all about the Expos and Oilers. It's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Edmonton's Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Family owned, community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. Now that spring is here for sure, and there's no question about it, good time to go out and get your next vehicle. Tool around all summer in brand new wheels. It is time for Declinations, brought to you by Elks Nation. Check out the new website, elksnation.ca. Articles, podcasts, and more breaking down the green and gold and their draft, and talking to people who are on the team, recently signed. The most in-depth double-E football coverage online, elksnation.ca.
Elksnation.ca.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Declan Krueger.
Declan Krueger. And Josh Fenwick and Mackenzie McClellan. And even, you know what, if there's time, Lowetide.
Oh, I don't think so.
All right. I mean, where do we start? So last night, Thunder and the Raptors played. I think that's like here in Canada, you get the Raptors games on TSN. You'll get national games on, like Sportsnet, TSN, ABC, NBC every now and again. But for the most part, if you want to watch 82 Raptors games, you'll be able to watch 82 Raptors games. And this was OKC's only appearance in Toronto this year. They were doing it without SGA. They were doing it without Jalen Williams. And I got to tell you, man, OKC, when they got off to that 24-1 start, a lot of people penciled them in as like, hey, they're set 74-8. Give them the championship right now. And even then, I was kind of hesitant. I was like, I don't this team has some legitimate deficiencies. Obviously, their records corrected themselves a little bit. You see what Detroit's done with their record, the way San Antonio's beat them in the head-to-head. But you watch a game last night without their 2 All-NBA players and without the league MVP and probably, second at worst, third best player in the world, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And the way they were able to move the ball, they do this thing. They run this on-ball motion offense that's really, really impressive. And so basically off-ball motion offense is all the motion, all the cuts, it's away from the basketball. It's towards the it doesn't always have to be towards the basketball, but it's the idea is that it's towards the basket, away from the ball. On ball is you come to the ball and then from there, the player who gives up the ball goes in motion. You'll see screen stuff like that. And they just ran it so well. And I was so impressed with what Mark Daigneault, we know how good of a coach he is. That's OKC's coach. But I was so impressed, to watch possession after possession, whether it be Cason Wallace or Isaiah Joe or Alex Caruso being the primary ball handler, what they're able to do offensively without their 2 superstars. And again, like I said, without a top 3 player in the world. And I wanted to be kind of hard on OKC. And I still think San Antonio is a bad matchup for them. And I kind of wanted to nitpick them because they've become a little easy to root against. But you watch a game like that last night. And again, the Raptors aren't, they're not going to be.
They're not going to win the championship.
Yeah, they're not going to win the championship. They're not going to be a 65-win team. But the Raptors are they're a good, tough out. They
are
play
a good
really
defensive
hard.
team.
They're a good defensive team. They have a real identity. And also, sorry, I guess I should say this as well. Credit to the Raptors because they clawed back from 20 down and made it a tie game. They just gave up some.
Scotty Barnes was plus 18 in the fourth.
To Isaiah Joe late.
And they lost by 9.
Yeah. They clawed back. They tied up the game. But OKC, what they were able to do was just really, really impressive.
Who has a chance? Honestly, because I always like to play this game. I always want Minnesota and OKC to be in it. I guess OKC winning now, I don't have to worry about them so much. But I like new teams to win.
Which,
if you had to umbrella 6 teams in the NBA, could you come up with 6, or is it less than that?
I don't know if I could come up with 6, but me, Josh, and Mac will
I think
do our
I can
best
think
job
of 5.
here. So OKC,
1.
San Antonio,
2.
The Denver Nuggets,
3.
Just because of how they're playing in the conference and where the Pistons,
4.
We can't count out the Pistons. Then I start to scratch my head.
I'd put the Cavs in there.
The Cavs are playing well.
I know James Harden
and their schedule is easy.
Historically is a terrible playoff playoff player. But you can't write him off. I know Donovan Mitchell hasn't been to a conference finals yet in his career, but he's really good in the playoffs. So I think there's some offset there.
Never made a conference final.
But he's so damn good in the playoffs. Those Jazz teams were so underwhelming except for him that I could genuinely see a scenario in which the Cleveland Cavaliers have won the world championship, but those are the 5
I
immediately jump to mind.
I would say the 4 I listed, and then if I was to pick a 5th team, I probably am picking the Cavs. But I got to be honest, I might, just because I really believe in who he is, I might pick the Timberwolves with Anthony Edwards. Dave Q just texted in the Celtics. It's really hard to count them out with what Jaylen Brown is doing. That's the guy who's in the MVP conversation. And then really quickly, Johnny B texted in the Houston Rockets. I don't see it. Their clutch time numbers are terrible. The 21st in the league or something offensively. Houston kind of has this thing late in games. I don't know what it is, but clutch time stats are really telling as well, I think. But the Houston Rockets have this thing where their identity as a team, it just falls apart. And everyone just on that, whoever's in that final five, like Eason, Şengün, like whoever it is, it just falls apart. And it's like, okay, Kevin, just go play iso ball for the last 4 minutes. And Kevin Durant, like more often than not, finds himself in situations where their offensive system is just collapsed and he's forced to get up shots. Like I don't think Houston can win the championship. They're a fun team to watch. They got a lot of talent on that team. They're they've won some big games. They make some big baskets, but their clutch time numbers are just so scathing. And those moments that they really, really struggle in, those moments become pretty much entire playoff games, or at least a very large majority of the playoff games. So I don't see it with the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. They just don't have it.
I have a San Antonio question. Even though I'm a 76ers fan, I always have been. I really respect San Antonio.
As you should.
Right. They always do smart things. And so my question is, we've seen a couple of incarnations that have been all-timer good.
Oh, yeah.
What are we looking at with this team now?
So I listen, it's funny you bring them up because their trajectory kind of leads me into something I wanted to talk about with Luka, because Luka and LeBron just had a little thing last night where Luka didn't take a wide open shot, hesitated, passed it to LeBron. LeBron was forced to take the game-winning shot, missed it. Then in his post-game interview said, like, I don't know why Luka didn't take that shot. I thought he had a great look. But to go back to the Spurs are absolutely, I would say, outside of OKC, maybe outside of Detroit, even like I think San Antonio is better than Detroit. They just beat Detroit the other night, but Detroit's in the East. It's weaker over there. It's different. Outside of outside of OKC, possibly Detroit, they are in the best position moving forward. Like Wemby is a guy, and Josh, you'll know this from watching the games. Like his box score, his numbers might not always be as impressive as some of the other guys in the league, but he can have a stat line. If he has like 11 points and 6 rebounds, he was still the most impactful player on the court in that game because he changes everything defensively. Like he can get out to the perimeter and close out on a shot so quickly. He obviously clogs the lane and is a rim protector and alters every shot. Like he is a guy his numbers don't have to look that impressive, but if you actually watch the games, you're like, he changed everything on every defensive possession. So having that as an anchor mixed with like Vassell and Steph Castle and De'Aaron Fox is probably still young enough. They are in an incredible spot moving forward.
Interesting.
Josh, do you agree?
Yeah, no, but I even think he changes everything on the offensive end too, even if he only puts up 11 points and 6 boards, because
immediately but less so. Drafted, you would agree less so, but immediately as he was drafted in, it was like, oh yeah, this kid has gravity. And like it's not Steph Curry level gravity, because that's basically the entire Warriors offense, which is an entirely different thing that I love. But like you got to pay attention to him, because if he gets the ball in the post, who's supposed to stop him? He dunked on Rudy Gobert, who has like a 11-foot wingspan. He dunks on everybody, man. He makes it look so easy.
So, just this is an aside. It has nothing to do with sports, but you were talking about, those two teams, San Antonio and OKC. They're 7 hours away from each other by car.
Okay.
Which is basically Edmonton to Moose Jaw.
Okay.
So the heart of the West is like in that area.
Yeah. Okay.
Which next year it'll be in LA. We all agree, right?
Here's what's really funny about that. I'm glad you brought up LA.
I gotta disagree.
Yeah. So Chris Broussard, a guy I really respect, not his personal takes, but his sports analysis. He had said something the other day, and like Josh, and Mackenzie, like 3-4 years ago, we couldn't have fathomed Luka not winning a ring at some point in his career. Even a year ago, we couldn't have imagined that. It's starting to look a little on the table,
which is insane.
He's in year 8 now. OKC is in a better spot than he is right now as it stands with him with the Lakers. San Antonio is in a better spot right now than he is with the Lakers. I would actually go as far to say, even though I think they have a lot of problems themselves, they got to figure some things out. I don't like Minnesota might be in a better spot moving forward just from the makeup of the team than LA is. And here's the thing. With Austin Reeves, Luka, and LeBron all on the court, the Lakers are like a horrible team analytically. Now they're actually 8-4 when those three play. Only 12 games, by the way, in the entire season, pretty small sample size. But the analytics are terrible, and defensively they're terrible. The best like pairing you can have is when it's Austin Reeves and Luka without LeBron, and they got to make a real decision on LeBron, because LeBron, he's so good, obviously, and he has so much, kind of histrionics. His IQ for the game is crazy, but he's in a weird spot right now. It's like he's not really a hindrance. He's still a benefactor, but like to what point? They're in a really, really weird spot.
Yeah.
Are Luka, Josh Allen, and Connor McDavid all on somewhat of the same trajectory?
This is going to hurt you.
This is,
I would say, somewhat
respectfully to Luka Doncic.
Like,
he hasn't won as much stuff as the other guys.
Okay.
Like, Connor is like obviously the best at their sport of those three, but Connor and Luka are kind of in the similar vein where it's like you're pushing a little bit later in your career. You're 8, you're 10. You've had a finals appearance that hasn't gone your way. You have all the skill, all the talent in the world. Sometimes there's been a question with what management has put around you. Josh, like, it's a little bit different for him. I've always said, like, I've always said I've always said Nikola Jokic and Connor McDavid is the comparable. But when you look at kind of the results based, of what we have from those guys, like it's a fair one that Mackenzie brought up.
Interesting. Are you done? Because I got something.
Yeah, man, go for it.
Josh.
Yo.
What's your favorite baseball team?
The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
This is a news story, I believe, in the New York Times, but I'm not sure. The Angels don't have radar guns set up to measure velocity, Maddox said, but Manoah's fastball averaged 93.3 miles per hour, he thinks, during his first spring training start at the Arizona Diamondbacks facility on Sunday. So,
yeah,
they don't have radar guns, man.
That's what I just heard. Yeah.
What are they doing? They got cherry Coke,
What do they have cherry Coke? I don't know. I've never been to their stadium.
I have. It's very nice.
So I mean, okay, so if it's not about winning and it's not about player development,
it's not
obviously,
about a radar gun.
It's well, clearly because they don't have radar guns, so obviously it's not about development. It wouldn't exactly be about making money because you don't win. So are the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, is their franchise about something to do on a Thursday afternoon?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like an early, executive lunch, right?
Not something fun to do, just something to do. You're like, I don't think I want to go to work. I don't want to be at work this afternoon. Oh, hey, the Angels, they're playing the Rockies. That seems like it'd be okay. I could have a beer. I could have a hot dog. I'll go over there and spend 50 American, get stuck in traffic.
Also, what is Mastodon?
Mastodon? Isn't that an elephant?
No, but there's some media forum. Somebody's in here saying we should all be on Mastodon. I've never heard. Well, I
can't imagine this is good.
Okay.
I think they're trying to get us.
Is this Truth Social? Are they trying to get us on Truth Social?
So hold on.
So you know.
First, now I have to make a Blue Sky account and a Mastodon account.
Shohei Ohtani might be in the Hall of Fame. Okay, it's 1:54. We've ruined another day. Thanks so much. Jason Gregor on the way. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage for your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly at 780-265-0165. The NHL is back tonight with 8 games on the slate. Oilers are in Anaheim at 8:30. We've got pregame coverage with Andrew Walker starting at 7. Toronto takes on Tampa Bay. Winnipeg looks to make up some ground against Vancouver. And the Golden Knights duke it out against the Kings. Penguins captain Sidney Crosby has been placed on IR and will be out of the lineup for a minimum of 4 weeks. 6 games in the association. Toronto kicks things off against the Red Hot Spurs at 5:30. OKC is in Detroit. Cavaliers take on the Bucks, and Boston and Denver have the late slate. In spring training, the Blue Jays are down 4-3 against the Tigers at the bottom of the 8th. Next on Sports 1440, the Jason Gregor Show. I'm Mackenzie, and that's your Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall.